So it looks to me as if the future of Britain is pretty much set. Whether we like it or not, we have embarked on a crusade of mass immigration, and I doubt that any government in the near future is actually going to do anything significant about that. And so there are certain consequences that we can extrapolate from this. Now, I have here the 2019 British Office of National Statistics information on financial benefits and taxes paid by household. And the reason I've got the 2019 one and not a more recent one is because this was the last year that they produced. Is it this one? Yeah, this. For some reason, it's coming up black, so it's hard to read. But as you can see, this is the summary of effects of taxes and benefits by ethnic group. On more recent ones, they literally say we don't want to publish this because people will infer things from it.
That we know what it says without even having to look.
Yes, we do, and I can't even make that. I can't get that to be more readable. Sorry. Yeah, if you can turn that dark mode off. There we go. Right. So this, as you can see, has a position of 0. So this would be where everyone was net neutral. And then you have the taxes broken down. You've got in dark blue here, benefits in kind. So these are benefits of services and things like that. Then you have cash benefits. So that's literally the government giving you money. And then you have direct taxes that you are paying, as in from your wages. And then you have indirect taxes, such as VAT and things like that. And as you can see, this produces a number at the bottom, which is the net position. So, for example, they say white people are minus £4,149 pounds per year in beneficiaries to the state. Mm-hmm. And so if that means they give to the state and not take from the state. Mm-hmm. And as you can see, basically no one else, apart from Asians, but that's a very broad category.
Yes.
So that includes Chinese and Indian and Bangladeshis. So you could split that out quite a lot. But nobody else.
And then the real horror show would begin.
And then which is why they don't do it.
Yeah.
And so that's barely scraping in at minus 503. So slightly net contributor. You have other, which is a net position of 913, which is negative. So they're just taking £913, or the mixed, which is 1,232, or the ethnic minorities. I don't even know what that's supposed to categorize. I think that's just, whatever that is. The net position of minus 125, and then the black community, which is minus 6,371.
Plus 6,000.
No, the net position is they take from the state 6,000.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's actually it's a negative from our perspective.
Exactly. Yeah, fair enough.
They take from the state that much. You give to the state 4,149 on average. So this, you can see...
literally, Windrush is basically... The net result of Windrush is a subsidy to black people.
Yeah. It's literally what it is, yes.
And it's not just the Windrush, it's also the MENAT countries from the Middle East and North Africa. Yep. I think across Europe, it has been proven that they represent a net drain.
Yeah.
So diversity is not working to function to raise the GDP in that respect.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yes. So the Asian category would include Chinese and Indians, who do actually generally work and contribute. And it will also include Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, the Middle East, things like that, who don't, which is what's dragging them down. Because otherwise they probably would be a net beneficiary on par or above the white population of Britain. So the reason that I point this out is because, okay, well, we have a fairly crystal clear demonstration of who is actually supporting the country, who is actually making the things
and who's supporting who?
Yeah, well, who's supporting who? But who actually makes this country affordable? As in the money for the NHS, the money for the services, the money for this, the money for that. We all know who this is producing. Now, what happens when that population goes down as a percentage of the overall country? Well, there's fairly straightforward, and everyone can tell that means there are going to be more dependents than there are people paying into the system. In fact, that's how it is now, at 53%. But how much worse can it get? Well, a lot worse, actually. And so this is a bit of an issue. As you can see, the projected demographics are not great, but we are currently about here, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So bring this back to the amount of money that people are paying. You can see that we have an unsustainable system on our hands, because it turns out that people are not, in fact, universal, fungible, interchangeable widgets who all operate in the same way.
That's strange.
Different cultures matter. So anyway, moving on to the census. Now, one thing you can see here, this is just me taking the Asian British, or Asian Welsh Pakistanis. What does that mean? What does Asian Welsh mean? You can see that they're actually really quite segregated. The areas of 0 are literally 0.
Right.
Literally, there are no Pakistanis in these areas. Like, there's like 1 or 2 running a corner shop or something in the occasional small town. But there are literally areas where there's just 0, because this is where the English live. Mm-hmm. This is England, right? Then you have the Indians. Now, what did you notice about that? They don't live in the same place.
No.
They live in different areas. The Indians are much more concentrated in London and Birmingham. And if you look at the Birmingham, it's different areas of Birmingham in which they're concentrated. The Pakistanis are much more in the north there. You'll notice these different... Okay, what about the Chinese? I mean, the Chinese are much smaller, but like Bangladeshis are the same. But the Bangladeshis and the Pakistanis actually live in different areas of London. But people this similar self-segregate.
Yep. They used to be one country.
What about the blacks? Oh, they're in a different area. What about the black Africans? Look at the London one here. You'll notice that the black Africans and the black Caribbeans are in different areas of London. The dark blue bit flipping over.
Really?
Yes. Well, you can see in London. This area here, from there, in Barking and Dagenham, and then watch that flip.
Yep. Yeah.
These areas are self-selecting and self-segregating. So the minorities themselves are creating their own little segregated enclaves. And you know what? That's normal. That's completely normal, especially as they don't all play nice. I mean, you'll have seen this going around recently. I'm just going to play it just so you can hear it from the Your Party event.
These events, these activities, this unity must grow and continue and take over not just parts of Birmingham, but the whole of Birmingham, the whole of the West Midlands, the whole of the UK.
That was an independent Gaza MP called Iqbal Mohammed for Your Party.
The guy who defended cousin marriages in Parliament.
Yes.
The guy who was chosen to defend cousin marriages in Parliament. And I think he's married to his cousin as well.
Probably.
And is probably the product of...
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I mean, you know, literally coming out and saying we want to take over not just the whole of Birmingham, the whole of the West Midlands, but the whole of the UK. So, well, yeah, I bet he is thinking that. But like, why would he say Birmingham? Because that's where the colony is. That's where this colony is. And so it's one of those things where it's like, right, okay, this is the future of the country, segregated ethnic enclaves. Mm-hmm. And they're, of course, going, well, what does that mean? Well, we have examples going into the future of when everyone does that. For example, in South Africa, you have Irania. Now, this was established in 1991 on the Orange River in South Africa, and it was created with the goal of having a literal town, a city, that was just for Afrikaners as a minority group in South Africa. And so they have a very controversial position of just not allowing non-Afrikaners to live there. Now, this, of course, flies in the face of the Rainbow Nation, that in every other way is massively on the decline. I mean, do I need to persuade anyone that South Africa...
It's a total failed state. I've had the misfortune of actually...
Do I need to enunciate how the problems have carried on? And the population of this is growing faster than anywhere else. There's 10% annual growth rate in this town.
Wow.
It's absolutely booming.
Wow.
Because people have a desire to live amongst people that they recognize and are familiar to themselves, and they understand how the community operates, especially if you want a high standard of living and a high trust community. For example, I doubt they have rolling blackouts in Irania. I doubt there are very many random farm murders in Irania. And of course, this is described by The Guardian as extremism. This Whites only town in South Africa was difficult. Even sadder was the racist backlash in the UK. And this
Adepitan.
I can't pronounce that. But he made
It's a Yoruba name.
He made a documentary about Orania. And he said, quote, "I want to understand why these people held such extreme views, what the consequences were, and what lessons could be learned." Well, the consequences are a thriving, prosperous town in the extreme view of, I'd like to live around people who are like me.
Crazy.
Completely normal, as you can see from the British census. This is what all people do everywhere. And so there are some concrete reasons for that. Have you ever heard of the, what's it called? Sorry. There's a particular name for this monument. I can't remember the Whit Cruis monument. This is
the White Cross Monument.
Yeah, the White Cross Monument. Yeah. And so this is a monument to people who have been brutally murdered in random home invasions. So white Afrikaners farmers, but it's not limited to Afrikaners farmers, of course, it's targeted because they're white, have their farmsteads broken into by black South Africans, and they're brutally murdered in some of the most horrific things you've ever read in your life.
Yeah.
Like boiling children alive and various other things. It's just the most horrific things you've ever heard. And unsurprisingly, there are some people in South Africa who are like, I don't want that to happen. And I don't think actually the Rainbow Nation is functioning quite as beautifully as everyone's making out. And
so it's just crazy. And the Guardian would, of course, platform the craziest view.
Yeah, and this is being regarded as an extremist position. So, we have examples of this in Birmingham, right? This is two men who shot a man and then just went and bought themselves fried chicken. These are them walking away from having point blank shot a man in the head in Birmingham, and they're just like, yeah, we'll just go get some fried chicken. So are you mental? Like, I don't want to live around people who don't care about this sort of thing. And obviously they don't know how to use guns, which is how he managed to injure himself in the process. But anyway, I'm not going to show anymore. I don't think it actually shows anything in this, but like, it's just insane, right? And so, unsurprisingly, when you get, and this is just one thing, right? I mean, in fact, Harry, can you just do us a favor in the search? Just type in Birmingham machete, like just because it's just in the search, just Birmingham machete, right? Because this Birmingham is an I, not an R, U. But the point being, this happens all the time. There's constant street violence going on, and it's totally sociopathic. And don't worry about it. I'll just carry on. And people don't want this. And so anyway, you get this sort of attitude expanding. Now, this is another town in South Africa called Kleinfontein that they're complaining about is a gated community for whites.
Why does it need gates?
Why does it need gates indeed? Same reason. 30 minutes from Johannesburg. There's a link at the end that you haven't loaded up either, Harry, that I need as well at the end, please. But this is a town that was founded in 1991, around the same sort of time as Orania, and it's because they want to know that they can feel secure. They want to feel safe. And this is more easily done through homogeneity, which is, again, the precise reason that all of the ethnic minority communities in this country segregate themselves by design. They do it normally, naturally. It's a thing that is just what they do when they're given the freedom to do this. And then you have another one in America, which is, this is in Arkansas. What's the name of it? It doesn't actually say, does it? I'm sure I actually got the name of it. Anyway, this is run by a guy called Eric Orwell, who is ideological, right? So in the previous ones, I don't think it was specifically ideological. I think it was more sort of communal and instinctive, right? We would just like these sort of towns where we don't get murdered by angry people in the Rainbow Nation. But this one's more ideological because this chap's the leader of an organization called Return to the Land. And so this subverts and gets around America's civil rights laws by operating as a private club. And so this private club has bought land, and then it sells some of the land, or a title to some of the land, to people who then build houses on it, which is exempt from civil rights legislation because it's a private members association. And so they can pick and choose who they want joining their private members association as they want. And why are they doing this? Well, if you actually, I mean, you can see, like, throughout this, it's a constant refrain of Nazis, right? Nazis. But what you can do is actually ignore the sort of anti these guys propaganda and just pick out some of the actual bits that are substantive. Orwell insists that what he's doing is entirely legal because it's a private club, so it's exempt from equality legislation. Experts I spoke to doubt that. But the group has invested tens of thousands of dollars in legal research and believes it's created a viable framework for many more communities, both in the US and worldwide, to begin this way. This is a worldview that is shared with everyone I speak to, a reaction against what they see as left-wing politics pushed too far. But many of the opinions that we hear have become relatively mainstream, that mass immigration is out of control, that Western societies are in danger of losing their fundamental character as a result. Yes, everyone thinks that, and that's why these ethnic groups all congregate together. It's part of it is identity.
But it's only bad when you do it.
Exactly. A part of it is a feeling of sameness and togetherness and identity. These are all true things about these. And so they can complain that this is something that is happening, but it is a direct result to the policy of mass immigration that has been imposed on Western populations in the last 30 years that nobody ever voted for.
And before the last 30 years, it's also the question of freedoms without responsibility, because you can't want to be treated as an equal without also having your fair share of responsibilities. So what we have is the woke left that is constantly saying, right, you need to treat everyone as an equal, but not as an equal in respect of responsibilities.
Well, here's the answer.
This is exactly right. Like, I'm sorry, but the point is, this shouldn't have been possible for them to do. It shouldn't be possible for them to draw out more than they're taking in. Yeah. And it's exactly your point. There's an equality of, in fact, an inequality of obligation and an inequality of duty. And so, yeah, we're at this point where people are like, well, actually, we're going to have to make what is actually a rational response to this. And so the question for one chap who visited a whites-only town and thinks it could happen here, well, I mean... I don't know, man. Like, the thing is, right, all of Britain was like that until mass immigration. All of Britain was ethnically homogenous.
It's the dishonesty involved in defining Nigeria as naturally African, but Britain as not naturally European.
Sorry, I can't help but notice that it says here 0.0% of people in Eden are Pakistani.
That's true.
That was an accident. I didn't mean to land on that. What a strange coincidence. But the point is, he's like, oh my God, it could be in Britain that we have areas that are just essentially 100% white British. It's like, that was the whole country. The entire country prior to about 1990. And certain areas, like, it was 95% English in England. So you had like these areas in the cities, but almost nowhere else would you see non-English people. It was completely normal. And yet this guy is like, well, this could happen in Britain. So it was in Britain.
Josie Copson.
Well, it's not actually her. She's just writing about this chap's. Ben Zand went to Kleinfontein. And while it's not unusual for him to cover subjects that may make people uncomfortable, even for him, a mixed-race British-Iranian man, it was a difficult but necessary story to tell. Why does it make him uncomfortable to go to an area that is ethnically homogenous for white people?
Do you feel uncomfortable in China?
No. Do you feel uncomfortable? I mean, like, do you feel uncomfortable when you go and visit Cornwall? Like, just out of interest? How many there's 0 Pakistanis in the 21 census. Does that make you uncomfortable, does it? And if we go down, we can actually just get the actual white British population. if it would pop up, 93, 96, 94, like this is totally normal. It's completely normal. All the dark blue areas are going to be around 90+% English, because this was all of England. Why would you be uncomfortable with this? This is normal. This is what a normal country looks like. And this is the weird anomaly where this is where the colonization has been happening. So why is he like, well, I mean, this is difficult but necessary story to tell. Okay, well, let's tell it then. He says, I think people are becoming increasingly small-minded around identity and want to live in countries that are specifically white British. Well, I mean, the thing is, right, we go back to the Pakistani ones or the Indian ones. These people are not living in countries that are specifically white British. They're trying to live in India. They're trying to live in Bangladesh. So I remember an article on the BBC that was praising little Bangladesh here. And there was a chap there, didn't speak English. He was like, yeah, it's just like being in Bangladesh, but in Britain. It's like, yeah, that's normal. That's what people want. What is familiar, what they understand, what is homely to them. And so is it any wonder that British people I would like that too, actually. Is it any wonder?
The extremism involved, the extreme one-sidedness. Yeah. Again, going back to the extremism of the BBC, going back to the extremism of the left in general, they can never see the world through anybody else's eyes except their own.
Yes.
The fundamental point, if you're going to be an analyst, if you're going to sort of think about things, the duty that you have is to try to see the world through the eyes of other people.
Yes.
In order to understand their perspective, get their worldview, see where they're coming from, see why they want things in a certain way. And so when you see Bangladeshis congregating, Pakistanis, Chinese, blacks, whatever it is, what do they want? They want familiarity. They want to live in a world that they know and understand. The basic definition of home for me is this. When you walk down the street and you meet a random person, is there a very high chance that you and him share the same values? You may not agree on much, but do you share the same frame of reference?
See, the issue with that definition is that values are something rational that you think about. Like it's something that could be picked up and put down, but actually,
not in the sense of British values. Not in the sense of British values.
Well, that's the problem.
This is more deeply ingrained.
It's not values, is it? It's more the sort of
worldview,
reflexive worldview. Yeah, exactly.
Call it reflexive worldview.
Yeah,
fine.
That you're brought up in and that you can't really change.
But do you have a compatible understanding of the world?
Yeah.
And what is right and what is wrong, and what do you enjoy and what is good and what is bad? Mm-hmm. Do you have an understanding of the world that is common and shared? Everybody says, through voting with their feet, everybody says, voting with their feet,
literally,
that I want to live next to people who share my worldview.
Yes.
And I want that familiarity to be part of my life, and I want my children to grow up in it, and I want my children to know the values of their ancestors and to still practice them long after I'm gone. This is your aim when you raise your children. You want your values to be passed down. This is a part of you. This is part of who you are. Worldview, values, we're using them interchangeably. As far as the left is concerned, no. In reality, you're all wrong, and everybody wants to be in a rainbow nation. But in the rainbow nation, the black Africans go around murdering the Zimbabweans and attacking the Nigerians because they think that they're stealing their jobs and taking away from them, and they're not contributing and this and that and the other.
I mean, look at Leicester in 2022 with the riots between the Muslims and the Indians, the Hindus.
Yep.
There was an amazing video of this Muslim couple in a car watching the Hindu chants walking past. And the woman was like, what's this? And he was like, well, this is our equivalent of yelling Allahu Akbar, but in Hindu. And it's like, but they had no idea.
Yeah,
because they live in segregated communities. They don't know each other.
Exactly.
And so, but this guy's thought process tells you everything you need to know about the remoteness of these people to reality, right?
Yes.
Because this is the world we live in. The world we live in is the world in which there is essentially a kind of racial tax on the majority population of this country. There is just de facto segregation in this country.
And a racial subsidy for everybody else.
And a racial subsidy for everyone else. But de facto segregation between different communities.
And everybody else's segregation is good.
It's just normal. It's not even common.
But yours is bad.
But this guy then says, and I'm quoting directly, what does it practically look like to live somewhere where there's actually only one type of person? Well,
Pre-World War II. It looks like the world from...
No, it's not even pre-World War II. Like, it's anywhere in Britain.
Yeah,
outside of this scarred area of our country, like, you can go to, where's Great Yarmouth? There we are. It's like 88%. Mm-hmm. Like, that's basically that. Like, North Norfolk, 95.6%. Areas in the southwest, where it's like 96%. Like, I know. I used to live in Cornwall. Like, it just looks normal. Like, it's just normal. Nothing very interesting happens, actually. Which
I think one summary of what the left is the war on normal.
Yes. It's just normal. And so what happens when there's only one type of person? Well, life carries on unimpeded by the dangers of diversity and multiculturalism. Like, very few murders happen, very few thefts. People go out drinking. Like, I used to go to, like, the bars in Newquay, and it was like a 2-mile walk home at like 3 a.m. And every Saturday or Friday or whatever, I'd just walk 2-3 miles home drunk, and nothing ever happened. I would just walk home, and women would walk home. Like, friends of mine would go out drinking, and they'd all just walk home, and nothing would ever happen because everyone knew what the place was like and behaved appropriately. The next question, he says, is this a realistic way of life? Is it a realistic way?
I think I mentioned this.
It's how it has spontaneously arisen. Well, yeah. What are we talking about?
Exactly. Like, how is it that these people can just live in homogenous communities? Would we be happier if we just lived with our own race?
It's more an issue of the left trying to problematize everything. Because everything they problematize is what they try to control.
Again, it's just one of the, that's correct. It's just one of the things. Would we be happier? It's like, well, everyone does it by revealed preference. Like, everyone lives in different areas through revealed preference. Why are these colors flicking around every time I click on a different ethnic group? Because through revealed preference, it's clear that people are happier when they live among people who are more like themselves. It's self-evident. And he explains, well, as a mixed race dude, my conclusion is probably not. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but I just don't think that's correct. And I think that actually, when people live among people who are like themselves, people prefer it. And this seems to be, again, the revealed preference of everything that's happening. And so he notes in his column that there's nothing offensive about the place he visited either, Kleinfontein.
The funny thing is, this guy is half Iranian.
Yeah.
If you were to look at Iran outside of Tehran, it's deeply segregated.
Yeah.
Like, the Azaris live in one part of Iran, the Kurds live in another part, the Persians live in another part, the Arabs live in their own part. Outside of a few big cities, it's very deeply segregated.
Yes.
And
that's how people like it.
Nobody problematizes it about Iran. In Saudi Arabia, the Shia have their own part. The genuinely mixed part of Saudi Arabia is the western part of the country, and the center is the tribes, and it's just sort of very normal everywhere you go. In Lebanon, the only Catholic city in the country is also the only Catholic city. Is also the only city with 24 hours electricity. So, goes to show you.
I mean, he says here, like, he's been to lots of different places, like a nudist retreat and a legal brothel in Nevada and various other things. And they're easier because they're not really hurting everyone. But being exclusively one race is massively problematic. To who? Not to the people living in these areas.
Not to the Iranians.
But not even the Iranians. It's not to the Pakistanis who live in this very densely congregated areas, who have decided, we're going to live in these areas, or these are Caribbeans, but whoever, like in these dense, it's not a problem to them. Like, if we zoom in, you see that it's even more segregated.
Yes.
Right? It's just, this is hiding the levels of segregation in Bradford. We've got areas that are just almost, literally, like overwhelming majority Pakistani. It's like, sorry, people, why isn't he saying that to these people? It's like, by the way, did you know it's highly problematic that you have self-segregated in this way? No.
Well, it's problematic to everyone who wants to project might on that area but can't yet. That's exactly what it is.
But it's also problematic to the liberal ideological sense of what a community.
Yeah, they're useful idiots of these people.
Yeah, but it's the liberal morality, as in this was an unchosen fact about the person. You didn't choose your race or ethnicity or anything like this. And organizing on this denies other people a choice. And this is really what's at the heart of
that's
the
the
problem.
idealism of it. It's that they can't accept that we live in a realistic world. No, we live in a world and we have to be realistic. And just look at what Zach Polanski said yesterday about nukes.
Yeah.
He just convinced Putin to throw his nukes away.
What do you reckon?
I think he hypnotizes them.
Yeah.
I think he hypnotizes Putin.
But that's excuse me. I think
maybe he'll offer him a double deal. He'll grow
I think
thing and get him off the
what he says was entirely deliberate, because the consequence of this ideology tells to people in the Western world, basically, you need to give away your identity and banding together, but we are going to do it.
You need to be like Esau. And
it's like
your blessing,
having a cat in a world of other cats with nails and cutting its nails.
So the thing I want to highlight here is the ideology of the thing, right? Because you'll notice he says here, there's nothing offensive about the aesthetics of the place. There are well-structured light stone houses, plenty of green space on which residents can ride their horses, and a brightly coloured playground for children to enjoy. It's nice. Right? So it's not that the community is created is a bad community. It's a very happy, wholesome, thriving community, just like Orania. These are perfectly good places. But it's problematic ideologically because there are people who didn't get the option to live there.
Yeah.
I have to read this section. Sorry, Carl, give me a second.
Yeah, go.
Even when I hate somebody's views, I want to try to chat with them. There's an element of me that's a bit hippie. I just love. And I believe in being nice.
I'm sure he'll find it there.
No matter what. I hope that I make the case that it's possible to talk softly about difficult things and still challenge them.
Okay, but why would
he's
you want
put
to
himself on an insane moral pedestal. He's seen a successful society. He's decided that it's immoral.
Because
he's put himself on a moral pedestal, and he's talking down to these people, and they were polite enough to him. While I assume thinking that he's an absolute lunatic who has no idea.
Says they were nice to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he doesn't know anything about living in Johannesburg or something like that.
South Africa.
But he's decided that he's more moral than they are.
Yes. And this is the concealment of liberalism, that it conceals the reality and problematizes things that are otherwise good. Like, I'm running over a bit on this. He comes down and he gets to this. Again, they're not really hurting anyone.
They really define people by their cultural heritage. Strange that.
Yeah, weird. Can you imagine?
I define myself by my cultural heritage.
Same here. He says humans are so tribalistic, and it reminded me that the other thing that makes us fantastic is that we create communities and love each other. That is a function of tribalism. That is a consequence of the tribalism.
Yep.
It's when you don't have tribalism, when you don't have this kind of homogeneity in a community, regardless of the axis around which it revolves, then you have a low trust, suspicious place that people aren't comfortable living in. Right? So he's saying, look, I like the good thing, but I'm a liberal. I'm a radical globalist liberal who can't accept the things you have to do to make that thing come into existence. In Clemfontaine, they were so protective and kind to each other. Yeah, I bet. They've created a well-functioning area, and the collectivism is such that they all contribute money to fund the schools and hospitals. But I want diversity, and that will destroy this.
I wonder where he actually lives. Somebody asked him.
I didn't look it up, actually.
Somebody asked him if they could become Persian. That's a brilliant question.
Yeah, well, exactly.
What do you think, Stelios? You guys have a history with the Persians. Could you just become Persian?
It's okay. I think after a while, it's okay. I don't have such an issue with Persians, but. I mean, no, I can't be Persian. I'm Greek. I mean, it's just,
it is what it is.
No, it's I don't have an issue with Persians. It's a bygone. It's water under the bridge.
Look at the I know. And
I'm Lebanese. It's not.
It's sort of respectable foes as well, isn't it? You know, the Persians respect, and you won, so yeah. So you can't be salty about it. Anyway, he says there's a lot to be learned. Like, if you work together, you can do great things. But that has a darker side, as by caring for themselves, they've banded together against other people whom they hate. I don't think they hate anyone. They didn't seem very hateful. We need a sense of identity that goes beyond our race and culture as people on Earth. It's like, sorry.
It's called Christianity, and Christianity recognizes nations. Move on.
But hang on a second. Why do we need that? Because they seem to have a perfectly functioning society. So we need something that goes beyond race. But hang on, why? If the society they have is very nice, very aesthetically pleasing, everyone's very polite, and it's growing really nicely, why do we need something else? And it's because he's like, I feel excluded. That's too bad. Go start your own community. Like, you don't just get to destroy someone else's community because of your arbitrary liberal bullshit. Like, what are you doing? Do you even listen to yourself? And what would a sense of identity that goes beyond, like, parochialism even mean? Oh, well, I mean, we all have an identity of human, but it's actually, because it includes everyone, is not very useful. It doesn't bond us together because it doesn't mean anything. Because it's all-inclusive. It doesn't help.
There is no such thing as an all-inclusive identity. You can't make sense out of it.
Well, even if you can, it's...
All identity is exclusive.
But even necessary. If you can, like, the identity of human, I think, is an all-inclusive identity, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't...
You can understand it in distinction to things that aren't human.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Otherwise, like, being with a capital B.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're
which you can understand in distinction with nothingness.
But that's the point, and that's what he's asking for. He's asking for essentially the obliteration of a collective identity that people have.
Yeah.
He's saying actually everyone should just be an atomic individual.
And that's basically an attempt that there is an alliance between useful idiots and people who hate that identity. Because they fully intend to keep their own identity, and they have the doors that are open. That's the Trojan horse. And the useful idiots are playing their game.
The point that I liked your point about him ascribing to himself kind of moral superiority. It's like he's like everyone who's living in this town, who is, like he said, they're being sort of collectivist in that they donate money to the church or to the schools or whatever. They've got safe spaces. They've got a nice place. It's beautiful houses, etc., etc. They are all moral people, as in they are doing things that are moral.
More so than him.
Way more so than him.
Because they're actually building a community that is prosperous and beneficial to their children.
Exactly.
He's attacking them for that.
Yes, he is immoral. What he's doing is immoral.
Focusing on empirical data. Because, I mean, from my perspective, everyone who judges morally does this. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, I've no problem with occupying that position. The point is that when you do this, you do your homework.
Yep.
And these people routinely don't do their homework because it's what you're saying. They just say, right, flat out, abstract human, that's it. Full stop.
But the thing is, this kind of appeal to abstraction as the essence of morality, I just think is completely wrong. Right? As in, he's got a rule in his head. There have to be a certain percentage of browns in this community, or else the community is immoral. Which is literally what he's arguing.
That's the brown standard. We have the gold standard, the silver, the brown standard.
But it's literally what he's arguing. And it's like, but the community is thriving. Everyone seems healthy and happy and good. And they, like you said, they are living moral lives. Yep. And the product of that is self-evident. And he has to admit that. And yet still, he's like, well, this needs to be destroyed. And it's like, no, that's evil. What you're doing is evil to these people. You're trying to bring evil to them. And good for them for saying no, frankly.
If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.